Good Friday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to tonight's top stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And as we look down at the Wenatchee Valley, it still looks like a lot of smoke and haze, but boy, this is an improvement from what we've seen previous days this week. We can actually see some blue skies up there and actually see the Cascades and the foothills around the Wenatchee Valley, but still plenty of haze and plenty of unhealthy air. The weekend outlook, boy, it looks great. I hope we have a chance to really enjoy this weather without haze. Mid 70s to low 80s for both Saturday and Sunday. Light winds, mostly sunny and dry. And I'll have your complete north central Washington weather forecast coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the news stories we're following for you tonight. 2 Wenatchee Valley men are accused of breaking into an East Wenatchee home 2 weeks ago and injuring 4 people with pepper spray. A professional assessment of the Bolt Creek fire has found large burned areas that are now susceptible to flash floods and debris flows, including some areas of concern along Highway 2. And the planned closure next week of the highway off-ramp near the new Chelan PUD building has been delayed for 1 week. But first, our top story tonight. A motorcyclist was hospitalized yesterday morning after a collision with the car outside Moses Lake. The Grant County Sheriff's Office said the wreck at the intersection of Road E Northeast and Road 4 Northwest happened at 7:38 a.m. A 2013 Kia being driven by a juvenile was southbound on Road E and stopped at the stop sign before entering the intersection, where it was then hit by a motorcycle being driven by 56-year-old Carlos Bazan of Ephrata. Bazan was transported to Samaritan Hospital in Moses Lake with what were believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Kia, and 2 juvenile passengers in the car were not injured. The Sheriff's Office said the unidentified driver of the Kia will be cited for failing to yield the right-of-way, and Bazan will be cited for not having a valid driver's license and no insurance. Well, 2 Wenatchee Valley men are accused of breaking into an East Wenatchee home 2 weeks ago and injuring 4 people with pepper spray. 32-year-old Curtis Robert Ikes of Wenatchee and 35-year-old Zane Russell Grissom of East Wenatchee are now held in the Chelan County Jail on burglary, assault, and related charges. East Wenatchee police say the 2 men barged into a house in the 1800 block of North Aurora just after 3 a.m. and sprayed all 4 victims in the face. One of the men allegedly stole a cell phone during the incident. Police say the assault appeared to be a domestic violence incident targeting Grissom's former partner. Douglas County prosecutors have charged him with felony harassment in addition to the other criminal counts. A professional assessment of the Bolt Creek fire has found large burn areas that are now susceptible to flash floods and debris flows, including some areas of concern along U.S. Highway 2. A burned area emergency response team from the U.S. Forest Service determined there is flooding risk for the community of Grotto, Highway 2, the railroad and BPA transmission lines, towers, and access roads. The fire started September 10th near Skycomish and has burned just under 13,000 acres and has led to weeks' worth of closures for Highway 2. The fire is believed to have been human-caused. About 187 acres of burned land was identified as high burn severity, meaning there is a likelihood of future flooding and debris flows in those areas. Another 3,790 acres were identified as moderate burn severity, meaning heavy precipitation in a short period could lead to flash flooding. The team said forest managers may need to restrict use of the Buck Creek and Beckler River campgrounds or install signs to warn the public of flash flood and debris flow hazards. Well, the planned closure next week of the highway off-ramp near the new Chelan PUD building has been delayed a week. The Highway 285 Old Station exit will now be closed October 17th to 28th as work continues on roadway changes being made to accommodate the new PUD headquarters and service center. The building is expected to open next year with major changes in the works for Penny Road and for Easy Street. Well, when we come back, the local unemployment rate ticked up slightly in August compared to July of this year. A Washington judge has ruled that Facebook repeatedly violated state law on campaign finance a total of 822 times. The Washington State Debate Coalition expressed frustration yesterday after having to cancel one of its planned debates and having another on the brink of cancellation. And the North Central Washington Equity Alliance has an executive director for the very first time. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
To understand someone better, walk a mile in their shoes. Or ride along in their patrol car. That's what I do with local police officers here in Washington. To hear their concerns firsthand, then fight for them in Congress. It's why I got police more funding for bulletproof vests and body cameras, and more mental health officers so cops can stay focused on fighting crime. I'm Kim Schreier, and I approve this message because our local police deserve our support.
Fellow Chelan County residents, this is Sean Smith. As a local business owner, I understand the increasing challenges of survival. And as a father of 4, I understand the need for a safe environment for our families. As a lifetime resident, I am seeing changes that are not productive or safe. As your next county commissioner, I will work diligently to make sure things get better. County commissioners face a lot more than just community development, and you must be prepared to work on all levels of county government. I am ready, willing, and capable, and would ask for your vote.
I'm John Divis from Wenatchee Dental Arts, and I like to think myself as a comprehensive dentist. We are an office that treats people comprehensively for their dental problems. We do a lot of general dentistry in a broad sense. We don't send everything out. Things that we have the ability to do in the office, we like to keep in the office and under one roof and keep things as complication-free as possible. You can come to one place and have all their dental needs taken care of.
Welcome back. In another news, the local unemployment rate ticked up slightly in August compared to July of this year. That's the latest from the State Employment Security Department's report, where the Wenatchee Valley's unemployment rate was at 4.4% in August. That's compared to 3.1% unemployment this past July. However, that 4.4% mark in August was still 0.6 of a percentage point lower than in August of 2021. Meanwhile, non-farm employment increased by 2.1% in August from 47,400 jobs last August to 48,400 this year. A Washington judge has ruled that Facebook repeatedly violated state law on campaign finance a total of 822 times. The King County Court found that Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, failed to keep and disclose information about who pays for political ads as required by Washington law. It's the second lawsuit brought by Attorney General Bob Ferguson against Facebook for the same issue, and the second time a judge has ruled against Meta. The latest ruling means the company could be forced to pay up to $10,000 for each of the 822 violations. The Washington State Debate Coalition expressed frustration yesterday after having to cancel one of its planned debates and having another one on the brink of cancellation. The coalition said an October 18th debate between Secretary of State Steve Hobbs and challenger Julie Anderson has been canceled after Hobbs said he would not be available. Hobbs, a Democrat, was appointed to the post by Governor Jay Inslee after Republican Secretary of State Kim Wyman took a job with the Biden administration. The coalition said it's been trying to get Hobbs to commit to the debate since spring. In addition, a Seattle debate between U.S. Senator Patty Murray and Republican challenger Tiffany Smiley is likely to be canceled after Murray did not respond to a deadline of October 5th to commit to the event. An October 23rd debate in Spokane between the two remains on the schedule. Also on the schedule is an October 28th debate in Ellensburg between 8th District Congresswoman Kim Schreier and her Republican challenger Matt Larkin, the only scheduled debate between the two. Well, the North Central Washington Equity Alliance has an executive director for the first time. Oscar Licone Eusebio was previously the community outreach coordinator for the Wenatchee Valley College. The alliance, which was founded last year, elected Licone Eusebio as its first director. The nonprofit group formed in 2021 to promote a more inclusive Wenatchee Valley for people of all races, genders, sexualities, and abilities. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
As nature does its magical change from the green of summer to the orange and red of fall, camping in your old tent isn't going to cut it anymore. It's time for you to get a great deal on a motorhome, travel trailer, or fifth wheel from Click It RV during our year-end clearance events. We need to make room for our 2023 models. Get 30% off, 0 down, no payments for 90 days, and receive a lifetime warranty. Come visit us today off I-90 in Moses Lake and see big savings at Click It RV.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Time now for tonight's feature story. In a video released this week by the city, Wenatchee Police Chief Steve Crown said traffic fatalities in the state took an alarmingly big jump in 2021, with most attributed to impaired driving, speeding, failure to use a seatbelt, and distracted driving.
Your communities have seen it in the headlines, and you've seen it in your work. Traffic fatalities in Washington and across the U.S. have been going up. At a glance, it may not seem like it, but the last 2 years are a clear reminder of how important the work of law enforcement, and specifically traffic enforcement, is in saving lives. As you know, in 2020, we intentionally reduced our levels of traffic enforcement with the aim of minimizing person-to-person contact to protect both officers and citizens from the spread of COVID-19. Even in the law enforcement community, where we understand the value of traffic enforcement, I don't know that anyone could have anticipated how rapidly and to what level we'd see a responding increase in high-risk driving behaviors. Those high-risk behaviors resulted in more serious crashes in our state. In 2019, there were 538 traffic fatalities in Washington. In 2020, fatalities increased to 574, and in 2021 to 661. That's one of the largest year-to-year increases in traffic fatalities in our state, and the most fatalities on record in the past 2 decades. Our challenge as law enforcement is to intervene in the behaviors of a small portion of drivers who engage in risky driving. We can acknowledge the loss of so many in our communities killed in traffic crashes and recognize without the work of officers committed to traffic enforcement, that number would undoubtedly be higher. And that's why I'm hopeful. We know that traffic enforcement, when focused on a top crash factors reduces serious crashes. Every time you arrest an impaired driver or take action to address other high-risk driving behavior, you are changing and saving lives in your communities.
Time for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. Hope you had a great Friday. It was a little bit easier to breathe out there today, but our air for the most part was still in the unhealthy category. This is looking down at Leavenworth, and you can see some heavy smoke still over the city of Leavenworth, and we saw plenty of that in Wenatchee, also in Cashmere today. We did stay pretty consistent as we've been all week. 79, our unofficial high today. 66 is now our normal high, and 84 is our record that was set in 2014. 54 our low this morning, 45 is our normal low, and our record low temperature 32, the freezing mark set back in 1990. Sunrise 7:08, and sun will set tonight at 6:28. Taking a look at those Saturday temperatures, once again going to be very consistent to what we've seen all week. Unfortunately, so are our sky and air quality conditions over the weekend. 82 for Moses Lake, 81 in Ephrata, 80 for Quincy tomorrow. Then the rest of us to the west of the Columbia Basin will see generally high temperatures between 75 and 80. The exception, Lake Wenatchee tomorrow with a high of 70 degrees and very smoky up that way. Tonight, patchy smoke will continue as our area of high pressure off the coast continues to really block all the lows that are trying to move in, and that'll keep our skies partly cloudy tonight, lows in the low to mid 50s. For Saturday, I wish I could tell you some better news, but we're probably going to see widespread smoke again tomorrow. It will be warm, a lot like today, with high temperatures in the upper 70s. I think we could see less haze on Sunday as our weather transitions a little bit in wind direction. Warmer on Sunday too with less haze. We may jump up into the lower 80s for a high on Sunday. Getting into the holiday Monday, mostly cloudy skies. It will be a windy one on Monday. You can see our lines of barometric pressure very tightly packed, and that'll kick up the winds, highs of about 80. And then as this system goes into the Dakotas, we are going to see some cooler air funneling down from Canada. It's not going to cool us down a whole lot, though. We're talking mid 70s for high temperatures on Tuesday. For Wednesday, more of the same, sunny and mild. And even though we're cooler, mid 70s, still about 8 degrees above where we should be for this time of year. And then by the end of our forecast, boy, you can see how this high is blocking 2 areas of low pressure from moving in, and that'll keep us nice for Tuesday. Nice fall weather with high temperatures in the upper 70s. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast now. 52 overnight tonight. Haze for Saturday and 78. I am hoping for less haze on Sunday. If we do see that, we should jump up to about 82 degrees, and then wind and clouds as we start off our next work week, and 80 degrees. And then we drop back down into the 70s. 75 for Tuesday with sunshine. Wednesday, lots of sun as well, and 76. And we're actually going to warm up a little bit as we get towards the end of the week next week. For Thursday, sunny skies with a high then of 78. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Introducing Alpine Airman. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
News, weather, and sports. It's all here weekdays at 5, 6, and 10 on your local news source, the NCWLIFE channel.
The NCWLIFE channel offers marketing packages that help you build your brand and sell your products and services. From traditional TV ads to targeted digital campaigns, let us help you build your customer base. Call NCWLIFE channel today.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy finally Friday. The Mariners are in Toronto taking on the Blue Jays in the American League Wild Card Series. Game 2 tomorrow at 1:07 in the afternoon on ESPN. If necessary, Game 3 would be on Sunday. Well, back in late June, it looked like the Mariners' season was taking a nosedive. They were 10 games under 500, scuffling offensively. That's when Seattle's manager, Scott Servais, called a team meeting.
I called the guys out and asked them to talk. I think it's really important that you listen to people and listen to our players, but you can only do that if you give them the platform to talk. And I forced our guys, what do you got? What do you think? What's going on here? And let it go. And I just sat back and let those guys discuss where we're at. It did not turn that day. I wish it would have. We got shut out that day. Okay, but I felt so good coming out of the meeting, and we got shut out. We went on a road trip, and we started to get it going. We won 5 out of 6 out of that trip, and towards the end of that trip, we got into a little bit of a brawl over in Anaheim. And I really think the combination of that meeting, understanding we were starting to play a little bit better. Now, when you come out of when you have a ruckus like that with another team, oftentimes it galvanizes your team. It really brings them together. And that's what I saw from our team at that point, and we started to roll.
Robbie Ray is supposed to get the start tomorrow. Be sure and tune into our website over the weekend. I'll keep you up to date and get you highlights here for the Mariners. Turning to the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard from last night. First of all, in girls soccer, it was Ephrata and Sela playing to a scoreless tie through 80 minutes and 2 overtimes. The Vikings finally prevailed in a PK shootout 4-2 for the 1-0 victory. Cashmere's game with Quincy was postponed due to the smoke. Okanagan topped Manson 1-0. Bridgeport beat Liberty Bell 3-1. Tenasket peppered Pateras 13-3. It was Brewster over Oroville by a final of 9-1. Coming up on the soccer schedule tomorrow, Quincy plays at Kiona Benton at 11. Othello hosts Ephrata at noon. Wenatchee and Eastmont will play at Quincy at 1 because of the smoke. Moses Lake travels to Eisenhower, while Cascade hosts Ellensburg and Brewster visit St. George's. Wenatchee swept Eastmont in prep volleyball last night, but it wasn't easy. Wildcats took the Panthers to the limit in Game 1. Wenatchee came out on top 29-27. Panthers won the next 2, 25-17 and 18 for the win. Moses Lake topped Eisenhower 3-1 with scores of 25-14, 25-20, 19-25, and 25-23. Battle of CWAC undefeated teams went to Ellensburg. They topped Ephrata 27-25, 25-20, and 26-16. In other volleyball action for the smaller schools, Chelan swept Omak 25-6, 8 and 18. Juliana Perez 27 assists. Olivia Stanberg led the way with 14 kills. Manson swept Oroville, while the other winners included Tenasket, Brewster, Okanagan, and Waterville Mansfield. On the volleyball courts coming up tomorrow, Chelan hosts Manson at 11. Cascade visits Clay Elum at 12:30, while Waterville Mansfield travels to Riverside Christian. Eastmont and Wenatchee swimming and diving teams will be on the road at the King County Aquatic Center tomorrow for the Mukilteo Invite. Runners for Eastmont will be at the Nike Hold in the Wall Invite. That's at Lakewood tomorrow morning, while the Wenatchee cross-country team is participating in the Richland Invite. Well, week 5 of the high school football season actually got underway last night. Eniac cruised past Bridgeport 62-32. Coming up today, it's Waterville Mansfield at Touchy. Tonight at 7 o'clock, Central Washington B-League play. Tenasket travels to Okanagan. Oroville hosts Brewster. Lake Roosevelt's at Manson. Chelan is on the road for a non-league game tonight at 6 in Colfax. Cashmere and Cascade will meet for the 29th Pear Bowl tonight in Cashmere. It's also the Bulldogs' homecoming night. Now, if the smoke is an issue, they'll hold kickoff till as late as 9 o'clock. If necessary, they can play the game tomorrow morning in Chelan. That would be at 10 o'clock. Other CTL, Quincy plays host to Omak. That one kicks off at 7 o'clock. Ephrata is at home tonight in Central Washington Athletic Conference play against Sela at 7 o'clock. That's the same start time for Grandview at East Valley. Prosser's at Othello. And Ellensburg is against Wenatchee. Speaking of smoke, that is, forced the Bulldogs and Panthers to move the game to Moses Lake for tonight at 7 o'clock. Wenatchee coach Scott Devereaux says not being able to practice outside all week certainly has its challenges.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, it's the classic E plus R equals O, right? You know, it's events we can't control. How we respond is going to be how the outcome. So, you know, we're focused on what we can control. You know, yesterday we practiced in half a gym because the freshmen were in the other half of the gym and there's volleyball going on. And so, you know, we didn't have a lot of space. So it was basically we worked our running game and we spent 5 minutes special teams getting some mental reps and We worked a little bit of just alignment assignment with our defense and walkthroughs and, get the mental part really dialed in, and hopefully our guys are taking those mental snaps as we do it.
Wenatchee's trying to bounce back from a 28-7 loss at Moses Lake last week. Devereaux says it was a case of handing the Mavericks a win off of Wenatchee mistakes.
I told the guys about the Moses Lake game. I don't know if I've been in a game where I've seen that many bad things go that way, with block kicks and long punt returns and interceptions, and pretty frustrating night. And I think, we could have played with that team, but we can't have those kind of mistakes. Special teams, usually we're pretty solid in that department, and we broke down.
Wenatchee and Ellisburg kick off at 7 o'clock. That's at Lions Field and Moses Lake at 7. Same start time for Eastmont at West Valley tonight. Wildcats have also been stuck inside for most of the week, although Coach Michael Don loaded his team up for a road trip on Wednesday.
We went to Eniat. We were able to get some buses. Fortunately, our athletic director's been working really hard for us. Originally, we were supposed to go to Quincy, and then the smoke level raised up there. So we came up with a backup plan of Eniat. I live up there, so I know it's a lot clearer, and I just mentioned it. I said, hey, there's really no smoke up there. And it's I don't know, something about it. There's about halfway up the river, it's clear. And so we were able to get a group of guys up there. We took the JV varsity up to Eniat, and we're able to get a nice 2-hour outdoor practice in.
Eastmont fell to Sunnyside on homecoming last Friday, 35-20, to a team that threw the ball really well. Now, Don says West Valley will throw even more tonight.
We got to get to the quarterback. We got to make him get the ball out. We got to make him make mistakes. And then offensively, we need to stop having penalties. We got to take care of the football, and we got to be able to throw the ball efficiently. A lot of that's on me. I think we've taken too many shots early, and we got to make sure we're getting into a rhythm, throwing the ball efficiently, and then continuing to run the ball. I'm disappointed with myself as a coordinator last week because, we ran the ball for like 9 yards per carry, and we only scored 20 points. I got to do a better job of keeping us in good positions.
Other Big 9 play finds Moses Lake at Davis, while Eisenhower hosts Sunnyside. Just a reminder that because the venue changes for tonight and tomorrow, NCW Life Channel will not be able to bring you broadcasts of football and soccer as planned. Wenatchee Wild will try to notch a win in the win column for the first time this season, north of the border this weekend. Wenatchee is at Trail tonight at 7 o'clock to face the Smoke Eaters. Trail, the lone team the Wild were able to beat in the preseason. Wenatchee will be in Cranbrook to face the Bucks tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Big weekend of college football. Seahawks on the road at New Orleans. Much more on our website. Go there at NCWLIFE.com. Have a great weekend. Grant, back to you.
Lots of sports. Thank you very much, Eric. And now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up Monday morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. On the next edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Katie Batson is my guest. She is in Human Resources at the Wenatchee School District, and come Wednesday afternoon, you're having a job fair right here at the district office.
We are. Wednesday from 4:30 to 7. We are looking for people to fill a number of positions with us, paraeducators working with our special education program, nutrition services staff, substitute, custodians, bus drivers. So we have a lot of positions open we'd like to have people come in and check out and apply for. We're
going to plant that seed with Katie and me on the next edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for being with us and have a great weekend.
Watch Vibrant Living, brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center. Find out about programs and activities for ages 50 and over, and meet amazing seniors who contribute to our community. New episodes Sundays at 1:30 p.m., replayed throughout the week on the NCW Life channel.
Be sure to tune in each weeknight for sports during the NCW Life Evening News. If it's the Mariners, the Seahawks, or any of our local teams, I'll be sure to cover the latest right here on the NCW Life channel.